3, 2, 1.
Well,
it has been shown.
It helps with cancer about as much as turmeric and ginger. Those things
all
help
those
with
anti-inflammatory
cancer.
things.
Yeah, I know, but it's not a prescription.
But CBD has been shown
with
to have
seizures.
tremendous benefits for cancer.
There's 2 big YouTubers that were in the news, or one was in the news. There was PewDiePie.
Yeah,
Felix.
let's talk about that because
I pay attention to everything. My question is, why don't most of us?
I mean, that is painful. You're going to do one of two things. You're either going to make a U-turn and get your ass back over to the side of the road and get in the grass, or you're going to...
Why are we comfortable with letting the world just go by?
I think a lot of people don't have the framework. They don't know how to operate in that realm. They don't know how to get going. They don't know how to get started. Yeah. But I love what you said about it being there's a game-like quality to life. That's such a perfect way to look at it. It really is.
You played the game.
Yeah.
You played the game for how many years, Joe? How many years are you on your podcast?
11.
11 years, right? I'm going to give you a very true story. I'm constantly preaching to us about it's not about now. It's about tomorrow. Our radio show is a good radio show and we have a following, but it's not about now. It's about tomorrow. We got to put the work in today so that when tomorrow comes, we are well equipped for the conversation that may be.
Realistically, I don't look at it that way.
How do you look at it?
I never look at a destination or a thing or something happening. I just keep doing it. I'm one of those weird grinders.
It's not weird.
But
that's a way for you to go.
But I trust the process, but I don't ever look at it like there's a destination, like a success moment, like a big thing hits. I just keep doing it, and those things sort of find their own way through management and agents, and I've put very little thinking into that. I put almost all my thinking into just doing the thing the best way that I can do it. But the thing is always the technique. The thing is always the process. And I think that's where I got this from podcasting and even from stand-up. It's just the grind.
The process.
Comes from martial arts. The grind is like you got to be there every day. If you're there 3 days a week, it's not as good as 5. You got to be there 5 days a week. And 5 might be better than 7 because sometimes 7 you burn out. You want to keep enthusiasm because that's a fuel. Enthusiasm, there's something about enthusiasm that like you got to balance discipline and enthusiasm. Discipline's critical. You have to be able to show up, but you also have to enjoy the out of it. And so enjoying it out of it with discipline is the key. But you gotta ride those babies out, you know? I made this analogy recently because I was talking about YouTube censorship and how YouTube has decided that they're gonna pull down videos from, talk about the flat earth. They'll leave that up. Because it's like it's so dumb. It's like, you can leave that up. That one's so dumb. You have to be a moron to think the earth's hollow and that there's aliens living inside it, traveling around on laser beams. There's videos that say that. They'll leave those up. And they'll leave televangelists up. But then it gets to these doctors that are saying, we're looking at the statistics, this is the deaths in terms of age groups, and this is why it's not nearly as dangerous as we thought it was, and these quarantines are not the best way to handle it. We think there's better way. They'll take that video down, even if it's someone who's saying rational things. And I don't think that's smart. I don't think that's a healthy way to handle things. I don't think it's good for the debate. I think, in fact, it strengthens the resolve of the people on the other side that watch those videos, and some of those points resonate with those people. I think that's not the way to handle it. I don't think removing those videos is the way to handle it. I think the way to handle it is let other people with opposing points of view put their videos up and let people discuss and debate and see which one makes more sense to you. And usually the weight of the information overwhelms the book. And at least with most people, I don't understand why it's okay to leave some obviously full of shit videos up, but take down things that are very, very controversial but debatable. The founding fathers who set up this country in the 1700s had no idea what 2020 was going to be like. And I think when you're talking about freedom of speech, it's like, do you still have freedom of speech if you could just talk and you can't tweet? Well, I guess you do, right? Do you still have freedom to get the word out? Well, you do, but you don't have freedom like you or I do, where you could tweet or you could make a YouTube video. And who gets to have that? And is that an essential service? Is that a thing like the post office or a thing like the electricity and the utilities? Is it an essential thing? I think one could make the argument that in 2020, it's used by so many people to convey so much information, and it's so significant that I believe it is an essential thing. And I think that just banning someone because you don't like what they say or you don't like how they say it, I don't think that's a solution, nor do I think there's a clear solution. Because I think that if you have someone who is hateful and is doxing people and insulting people and stalking people online and saying horrible things, that's not good either, right? There's laws about that in person. You can't harass people in person. Why can you harass people online? Why can you put up your address and have a bunch of people send terrible things to your house? Well, why is that okay? Well, it shouldn't be okay either. We need to figure out what's okay and what's not okay.
So we would be going to the swimming pool or something barefooted, and you get halfway across an asphalt road, and you look down, and you're not going to stand there in the middle of the road and melt yourself down to the knees. Pain is a motivator. Pain is not necessarily always bad. If you're in pain, it's going to motivate you to move, to change something. And to mask that with drugs, to dull that pain with drugs, is not necessarily a good thing.
That is wise advice. And I wish more people thought that way, particularly more doctors. You know, I have so many friends that have gone to a doctor because they're not feeling so good, and they're almost immediately wanting to throw them on something.
Because here's the thing, I don't care about it.
One way or the other?
But my issue with it is when, and we saw this in Montreal, I talked about it, when people lie about it and they're dishonest with their voting constituency.
Like how so?
Well, saying, it's medicine for A, B, C, or D. It may be medicine for A, but not for B, C, or D.
What are the B, C's, and D's?
Well,
what are the things that's not medicine
an example. Well, you're asking me what I wouldn't talk about, and you're asking me to defend it. My point is, I don't really care about it.
But what are the B, C's, and D? What you said
it cures cancer.
Well, there has been shown
it helps with cancer about as much as turmeric and ginger.
All those anti-inflammatory things.
Yeah, I know, but it's not a prescription.
But CBD has been shown to have tremendous benefits for cancer and non-psychoactive.
Yeah, and certainly with seizures. I have zero problem with CBD being legalized. But my issue is
cannabis.
I feel the need to call people out in bullet when they say, well, the reason it's not is because of big pharmaceutical companies. I go, hold on a second. There are 7 patents on chemical compounds for marijuana right now. Right. The people who stand to make the most out of marijuana legalization are pharmaceutical companies. That's why they make.
That's not true.
Well, it is. If you look at the biggest supplement companies, it's owned by the same pharmaceutical companies.
But you can't patent
the one
plant.
Yes, you can. They patented seven at
you
least.
You can patent strains that are GMOs.
No. 7 active chemical compounds in pot that have been patented as drugs. They've gone through recognized. There is no one who would stand to gain more than pharmaceutical companies by providing it as medicine.
That's not necessarily true if people are allowed to grow it themselves.
Maybe it's not necessarily true. I'll give you that. But I also think it's not necessarily true that the reason people can't smoke up is because Big Pharma is sitting somewhere, Martin Shkreli going, let's make pot illegal.
Not that
That's
guy.
my only point.
But there are absolutely people who have lobbied, as we talked about how the prison guard union has lobbied to keep marijuana illegal. There's absolutely pharmaceutical companies have done the same thing. It was revealed